What's up, everybody? A couple days ago, I saw The Amazing Spider-Man, and I thought it was pretty good. I'll give it a 7. There are things I really enjoyed about it, and what I didn't enjoy about it, I can't necessarily put my finger on, so I don't know what that says, but there are also some other circumstances that may have factored into the 7, but I'll try and get to all that. The Amazing Spider-Man is what they're calling a reboot of the Spider-Man franchise that was done by Sam Raimi. I think the first film came out in, what was it, '02? No, it couldn't have been that late. Well, anyway, I can't remember when the first film came out. But they had 3 of them, and so now they're rebooting the story. Basically telling the same story as Spider-Man, the first film, with, you know, a few key differences. It's about Peter Parker, high school student who gets bitten by a, well, I don't know if I can call it radioactive. It's radioactive in the comic books, but here it's kind of like a engineered, genetically enhanced super spider, maybe. Anyway, it bites him. Peter Parker finds himself with the abilities of a human spider, I suppose you'd say, and becomes Spider-Man after a series of events, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Okay, let's see. It stars Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, Martin Sheen, Rhys Ifans, Sally Field, Dennis Leary. I guess those are the big ones. I'm leaving someone out. I can't remember. All the acting is tremendous. That's what I really, really liked about the film, is that it emphasized character, drama, and interaction. I thought it really gave a chance for all of the actors to really act, and I enjoyed that very much. I also enjoyed how it really stuck close to the comic book. The Sam Raimi Spider-Man, I mean, really honored their comic book, stuck, you know, somewhat close to it, but made a few key changes. And changes that I did not necessarily disagree with. You know, I think an artist, you know, pretty much gets any comic book and wants to do his own spin on it. I don't read comic books much anymore, but I used to be obsessed with comic books. I was a comic book collector from like the age of 12 to 16, I'd say, for 4 good years there. I spent pretty much all of my free time and money into collecting comic books. And I think, and now I don't read comic books, but I read about comic books and seeing like what's going on in the comic book world. And apparently they just keep on rebooting the characters and doing all this stuff. I don't even know if I would recognize the characters if I went back into reading comic books. But anyway, I think an artist has free reign to, you know, skew the mythology of their character as they see fit, which is what I think Sam Raimi did. But here, with Amazing Spider-Man, we get back to pretty much a faithful retelling of the story of Spider-Man. Boy genius, high school student, angsty, lippy, you know, just a teenager, really. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the younger, you know, less mature Spider-Man. I think, you know, it made him seem more like a kid, and then as a kid thrust into this situation where, I mean, and that's another thing I enjoyed. They never said, you know, the famous Spider-Man line, with great power comes great responsibility. I think they are building up to that, you know, which I appreciated. They didn't have to fall back down on that line. So it's like he even still has yet to learn that by the end of the film. So he's maturing, and we will see him maturing over the following films to come, I have no doubt. I really, really enjoyed Emma Stone. I thought she was fantastic. I think she's a great actress. She's beautiful. I just thought she was tremendous. I thought her chemistry with Andrew Garfield, their chemistry together, just really sold the film. I loved their scenes together. They say that Garfield and Stone, like, apparently they're an item now, and that they fell in love while filming Spider-Man. I can see it. You know, I can kind of see it, that there is something going on there, that the chemistry is so good that, you know, you can pretty much see them falling in love. And I mean, the characters are supposed to an extent, but you just see something extra. I mean, you can just tell that in some situations they didn't have to act as hard. So I think that really kind of brought something to it. Every time the film slowed down, and I do think that there were some slow parts to the film. I think the film is pretty much 2 hours, 15 minutes. It definitely feels like 2 hours and 15 minutes. I did get, for lack of a better word, bored, you know, at times watching this film. Here's one extenuating circumstance that I have to mention that may factor into my viewing. I saw this in 3D. I don't normally like to do that, but it just worked out that way. That I saw this in 3D. And I'll tell you what, I haven't really had this experience before. But by the end of the film, I had a splitting headache. And I mean splitting, as if I thought my skull was going to crack open and my brain just leak out. And I have to blame the 3D, I think. I can think of no other reason. I've never seen such a 3D film with so much motion in it. The 3D is just going to rip the eyes out of your head, I think. That's kind of what I didn't enjoy about it, is the action. I thought that this is directed by Mark Webb, written by, I think, 3 people. Mark Webb, if he's done another, I think this is his second film. If he's done other films besides 500 Days of Summer and this film, I'm not familiar with them. Maybe I need to look at more of his work. But anyway, it's an interesting choice. You know, 500 Days of Summer is an excellent, like, pre-midlife crisis, will I ever find love movie that I really, really enjoyed. But it's, besides like a big musical dance number, it's a pretty much straightforward drama, comedic drama. So I thought, you know, getting Mark Webb to do this was just pretty ballsy. And it really, what I liked about it is when it played to Webb's strengths, and that's drama and character interaction and working with actors. When the film is an action film, thriller, well, the thriller, it did all right. He does a really good job at establishing tension. There were some scenes in there before the shit hits the fan that you can just feel it building, and it's really tense. But when it gets to like the fighting, it just seemed that he just wanted to go crazy. You know, that maybe he doesn't have so much experience with it, so he just wanted to see what he could do, see what everything he could do. And the camera just flies around, zooms around. Sometimes I thought the action was a little incoherent. There were times where I was just like, what? You know, how did that happen? You know, maybe I just missed something for a half a second, or my brain didn't see it. But just all of the camera movements, and combined with the 3D, just, I guess, made me dizzy. And for, you know, maybe the last half hour of the film, I just wanted it to be over. I was just like, let's get out of here. I gotta take these glasses off. My head is killing me. You know, I want to kill myself. So, again, I can't necessarily blame the film. It may be, you know, the 3D, but just the movement was just going nuts. It was crazy. The camera was just zooming all around, which, again, I know it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man is an acrobatic fighter. So I'm with you, but I don't know. I thought, and this should be obvious, but I think Sam Raimi had him beat in terms of capturing movement and action. But Sam Raimi is kind of a master of that. So I think it's unfair to compare. You know, I just and I just mentioned it in my review of Brave, as our technology is getting better and better and better, and our special effects are going towards what they call photorealism, where everything looks perfect. You know, it really soon won't matter anymore. And that's kind of became evident to me in Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, is that the special effects are awesome. You know, they're, for all intents and purposes, flawless. They look, you know, perfect. I had no problem not, you know, believing that there was a giant lizard fighting a Spider-Man, you know, in a library or high school. You know, it just seemed to be there and happening. You know, again, photorealistic. But pretty soon, we're not going to give a shit. You know, we're already going to have seen everything. You know, so it's going to become less and less spectacular. And pretty soon, you're going to have all of these amazing, visually epic films that are just like jaw-dropping in their artistry, and they're not going to have any kind of story to support them. And we're just going to be watching these pretty flashy, shiny things jumping around on screen, and maybe they're never going to do anything meaningful or say anything intelligent, and you may not have any fun. So it's like you've got to pay more attention to the story. And I thought the story for Amazing Spider-Man was fine, but there was just something there. Maybe it's the fact that I'm too familiar with the story. I've heard the story before. I've seen the story before in another movie. You know, I just don't know what it was, but I definitely thought it needed to pick up the pace a bit. I was a little bored with it. I found, I don't know, the motivations for Connors, the lizard, I don't know if I just wanted more out of him. I thought I liked his interaction with Parker. I always liked the lizard as a villain. Maybe I'm in the minority there, but like in my comic book reading prime, there was a I can't remember what title it was. I think it was Amazing Spider-Man, but it might have been just Spider-Man. But it was this maybe not huge, but maybe 6-issue storyline or something with the Lizard and Spider-Man facing each other. Anyway, that story was drawn by Todd McFarlane. And Todd McFarlane's The Lizard is just to me, iconic. I don't think, you know, the Lizard should look any other way than how Todd McFarlane draws him. So that was my initiation to the character, and that's why I feel that I like the Lizard, is because he was, in that storyline, he was just awesome. And Todd McFarlane just made him look amazing. As Todd McFarlane always does. But I just, you know, it seemed like he flipped out, and then it seemed like he wanted to turn everyone into lizards, and I was like, why does he want to do that? You know, he wants to perfect the human race, which I didn't really get from, like, the first half of the film. Then he actually succeeds in, like, turning people into lizards, but we never get to see any of that damage that they cause. We just see them start to transform into lizards, and then after the problem's solved and the cure is, like, spread around, we get to see them, like, transform back into humans. So it was just like this huge, wow, he's turning the population into lizards, but we don't really get to see it at all. So I just don't think the film is great by any means. I thought it was a quality watch. It was entertaining, dizzying. I love the film when it slowed down and became about acting and speaking and interacting, you know, with characters. Then I thought it excelled. But if only the action could have been, I don't know, it just seems like they just went balls out crazy with all the action, and then it's just like you just grind to a halt and have this, you know, meaningful scene that, you know, is truly enjoyable, and then it just goes kinetically crazy again. It just, I guess, in a word, was uneven. You know, it felt uneven to me. I don't really know what else to say about it. I think I hit on everything. I enjoyed it. I'm sure it'll make a ton of money. I have no doubt that they'll make at least 2 more films. I thought they did a nice job of teasing us at the end with Electro for the second film. Hopefully, and then again we're teased with, you know, Norman Osborn. We don't really get to see him, but we know he's alive and searching for a cure to a disease. Again, it was okay. You know, it was a 7. You know, I don't know how else to put it. It was a 7. I don't really have a desire to see it again. At least not in the theater. I, you know, probably will rent it when it comes out. But, you know, it was good. It was a quality watch and fun, and I really enjoyed how it stayed true to the comic book. And I gotta go. Thank you very much.